Okay, Acting Chair Pfaff, you may begin.
Planning manager here, and it looks like we do have
there's Mike.
Chair Gall.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
I will promote him to panelist. All right. Thanks for catching that, Scott.
Okay.
All right, Chair Gall, you may
This
begin.
computer is about to join the 3 other ones that are in my yard. I hate this stuff. Oh, sorry, you guys.
No problem. No problem.
I texted Jen and I texted Audrey, but I think I sent you an email, Ruben. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but
that's all right. That's right. Chair Gall, we're live, so you may begin.
All right, we ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:08 p.m. Welcome to the June 27th, 2022 City of Burlingame Planning Commission meeting. For all in attendance, please note that this Planning Commission meeting is being held using the Zoom webinar format, so you will see that the planning commissioners and staff are panelists. Please note that there are several ways to submit comments during the meeting. You may raise your hand in Zoom by clicking on the raise hand button located at the bottom of your screen. Members of the public who are participating in the Zoom webinar by phone can dial 911, can dial *9, to raise a hand. I'm a little flustered. You may also send your comments by email to publiccomment@burlingame.org. Staff will be monitoring emails submitted during the meeting, which will be read at the appropriate time. The length of the emailed comment should be commensurate with the 3 minutes customarily allowed for verbal comments. If you are an applicant or applicant's representative, I will ask you to raise your hand when your agenda item is up for discussion so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. We ask that you also turn on your video at that time so we can have a more clear communication, simulating the experience we would have if we were meeting in person. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube and will be uploaded to the city's website after the meeting. Agenda item number 2 is roll call. It looks like we are missing.
We are missing Commissioner Lowenthal and Commissioner Schmidt this evening.
Okay, so we have 5 commissioners in attendance. Commissioner Lowenthal and Schmidt are absent. Agenda item number 3 is the approval of the minutes, and I do not believe that we have any minutes to approve.
That's correct.
We will move on to agenda item number 4, the approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda, or do we have any recusals tonight?
So staff would note that item 9A, 2313 Ray Drive has been continued. That will be scheduled on a future agenda.
Okay, thank you. Are there any recusals tonight? No. All right. Then we will move on to public comments. Members of the public may speak about any item not on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to suggest an item for a future Planning Commission agenda may do so during the public comment period. The Ralph Brown Act, the state local agency open meeting law, prohibits the Planning Commission from acting on any matter that is not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please speak clearly into the microphone. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on any item that is not on our agenda? Nope. Okay, so seeing none, we will move on to the next item, which is study items, and there are none. So we'll go to consent calendar, and there are no consent calendar items. Then we will move to regular action. Okay, agenda item 8A, 620 Trenton Way. If you are the applicant or the applicant's representative, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we ask that you also turn on your video at that time. Were any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communications regarding this project? No? Then let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, this is an application for design review for a first and second story addition to an existing single unit dwelling at 620 Trenton Way, zoned R1. With this project, the floor area would increase to 3,304 square feet, where 3,308 square feet is the maximum allowed. The number of bedrooms in the main dwelling would increase from 3 to 7. The office, study, and playroom all qualify as potential bedrooms for parking purposes. 3 parking spaces, 2 of which must be covered, are required on site. 2 covered spaces are provided in the existing attached garage, and 1 uncovered space is provided in the driveway. All other zoning code requirements have been met. At the Planning Commission Design Review Study meeting on June 13th, the Commission had several suggestions regarding this project. The applicant submitted a response letter dated June 15th and revised plans date stamped June 21st to address your comments. Suggested findings for design review are provided on page 3 of your staff report. And at this time, I'd be happy to take questions of staff.
Thank you, Ruben. Are there any questions of staff? I don't see any hands, so I'm going to open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and anything else you would like to add about your project?
I'm bringing in the applicants as we speak, so just give me 1 second. All right, go ahead, Ted.
Hi there. Thank you, commissioners, again for hearing this this project this evening. We appreciate all the comments that you gave at the last meeting, at the study meeting, and we've made a few revisions to address those. So we've revised the facade in a few ways. We remember your comments about the massing of the second floor addition, as well as the scale of the front porch in comparison. And so we raised the porch roof to reveal more of the front porch and the front facade into the kitchen with those windows on the first floor. And then we also really appreciated the suggestion to add shutters. And so we've added shutters to windows where possible. So all of those on the second floor on the front facade, we've added shutters to those to help break up a bit of the heaviness that the second floor was having before, as well as added a planter box at the center gable. And we've also increased the size of the gable vents just to again reduce the heaviness that the second floor addition had at the last meeting. In addition, we also on the rear elevation, right back here, we brought those shutters and window box back here as well to help break up the rear facade and center that over the sectional doors on the first floor. And we also have submitted an additional 3D rendering, just kind of to give a little additional context to how this will look from a street perspective. And this is with those updated the porch height and some of the additional articulation at the window treatments. And we made a few minor revisions that weren't in response to comments, just things that we noticed with our CAD software. So we included those in the letter. But yeah, we hope that this addressed some of your concerns that you had raised, many of which we agreed with, and we'd be happy to take any questions or comments.
Thank you very much. Do any commissioners have questions for the applicant? No. All right, then is there any member of the public who'd like to speak on this item? Okay.
I'm not seeing any, and we don't, sorry, Chair Gall, we don't have any other public comment emails either.
Okay, then I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, anyone like to comment on this project? Commissioner Say?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to just, wait, I'm sorry, we're in comments now, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to thank the applicant for listening to our comments and addressing them. I think that this rendition is beautiful. It's addressed all of our concerns. That upper floor fits much more nicely against that first story. And I appreciate the added detail with the shutters on the windows upstairs. It's like a befitting location for them on the second story. And the raised porch roof was the perfect solution to address not only the stacking of the second floor over the first floor, but also to address the interconnection with the roof over the garage. And I would support moving this project forward.
Thank you. Commissioner Foff?
Yeah, it's like The Voice. We pressed at the same time. I completely agree with my fellow commissioner, and well, unless there's more comments, I'm very happy to make a motion.
We'd love to hear it.
Okay, then I move to, what is the proper language to approve this project? And having found all the criteria for design, satisfied design review, et cetera, and it's a beautiful project. So can I ask for?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Foff and a second by Commissioner Say. Is there any discussion on the motion? No, then can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Camerado,
Aye.
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Foff,
Aye.
Chair Gall.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0-0-2.
Yes.
Not mistaken, and an action by the Planning Commission is appealable to the City Council within 10 days of the Planning Commission's action. If the Planning Commission's action has not been appealed or called up for review by the City Council by 5 p.m. on the 10th day, the action becomes final. In order to be effective, appeals must be in writing and must be accompanied by an appeal fee of $1,075, which includes noticing costs. Congratulations and good luck with your project. Then we will move on to agenda item 9B, 1829 Sebastian Drive. Have all commissioners visited the project site, and would any commissioners like to note any ex parte communication?
Yeah, I had 3 meetings, one with 1833 Sebastian, one with 1829 Sebastian, and one with 1860 Capistrano.
Thank you. Commissioner Say?
Yes, I too spoke to all 3 of the same addresses that Commissioner Haran just noted, and was able to view the impact of the proposed project against the 2 left and right hand neighbors on Sebastian, and was able to view the effects from 1860 Capistrano from their backyard only. We were not able to connect and get a tour inside the house.
Commissioner Camerado?
Yes, I visited with 1860 Capistrano and actually went into the home and saw the property, saw the flag, the story poles from inside the home. Also went and visited both neighbors on either side of 1829 Sebastian as well, and had several conversations with Miss Lee.
All right. And I also spoke with the neighbor 1860 Capistrano, sorry, and did not get in the home, but did walk through the backyard with his permission. All right, anyone else? Okay, then let's see. And we have no recusals, so let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, this is an application for design review and hillside area construction permit for a first and second story addition to an existing single unit dwelling at 1829 Sebastian Drive, zoned R1. The applicant is proposing a first floor addition at the rear of the house, which includes a 210 square foot loggia, a new second floor addition with a second floor deck located above the loggia. The proposed house would increase in floor area to 3,699 square feet, where 4,083 square feet is the maximum allowed. The subject property is located within the Hillside Area Overlay Zone. View preservation shall be limited to obstruction of distant views to San Francisco Bay, the San Francisco Airport, and Mills Canyon from primary indoor living areas such as living rooms and family rooms. Planning staff would note that the special permit requirement for second floor decks, the limit of 75 square feet, and increased side setbacks do not apply to lots located within the Hillside Overlay. With this project, the number of bedrooms would increase from 3 to 5. The proposed den on the second floor counts as a bedroom. 3 parking spaces, 2 of which must be covered, are required on site. 2 covered parking spaces are provided in the attached garage, and 1 uncovered space is provided in the driveway. All other zoning code requirements have been met. At the Planning Commission Design Review Study meeting on May 23rd, the Commission had several comments and suggestions regarding this project. The applicant submitted a response letter dated June 12th and revised plans, date stamped June 16th, to address the Commission's comments. The applicant also installed story poles to show the outline of the proposed second story addition. Suggested findings for design review and Hillside Area Construction Permit are provided on pages 3 and 4 of the staff report. Planning staff would note that a received after item was submitted by Christine Lee, which was provided to the Commission prior to tonight's meeting, so you should have that before you. There are also several other letters from neighbors included as attachments to the staff report. Those were submitted in time for the packet, so they are attached to the staff report. And at this time, I'd be happy to take questions of staff if you have any.
Thank you, computer,
Oh,
for
sorry,
letting me
I have a
know.
question.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand in time. Yes, Ruben, for up in the hillside area, we know that we generally approve decks where one can enjoy and appreciate, the bay views from a second story. Does the same thing apply when there's no view of the bay from the deck?
At the time the zoning code was amended, it was generally agreed that lots in the hillside overlay area would not be subject to the deck requirement of the special permit and limited to 75 square feet. Primarily was based on due to the fact that a lot of the lots in that area slope downward or slope upward, downward mainly, and that's kind of the only way that they can get flat area on those lots. So that's part of it, and part of it was because generally the many lots in the hillside area do take advantage of views with the use of decks. That's not to say that every lot is in that situation though. So while there may not be a requirement for a special permit or a way for you to limit the size by code, I think in cases where the lot is flat and there aren't any downsloping grades or perhaps there aren't any views to be taking advantage of, you can consider reducing the size of a deck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. Any other questions of staff? All right, I don't see any hands, so I'm going to open the public hearing. Is the applicant or the applicant's representative available?
So the architect is coming in. There's also somebody with letters WW, and I don't know if that's the property owner or not. I will bring in Youssef, who I think is a property owner.
Good evening, Commission. Tim Rudin's project designer. Also, yeah, Youssef will be included as well. He has reached out to the neighbors. I'll just keep my kind of comments pretty short and sweet. After our first kind of review, we kind of took all your comments into consideration. We got a true landscape plan. We changed the roof design. In regards to your latest comment just right about now about the deck, we can definitely reduce the deck. I think it is a little large, and on the 3D it looks a little awkward. So I think we can reduce the deck, maybe do a planting area to kind of soften that look. Joseph did a really good job of reaching out to Capistrano. There's some distant views that are, partially blocked with the roof. We had talked to him about lowering the pitch another 1.5 feet, 18 inches. I think that would alleviate a lot of the problem. In regards to the two neighbors, the neighbor on the right side looking from the street, we're adding landscaping and we're putting, more utilitarian rooms on that side, like the hallway and the master bath with minimal windows. We're trying to protect our privacy as well as the neighbors on that. I know she's, possibly not on board, but we're trying to work with them. The neighbor on the left, with the issue with the fences, we're keeping the fence existing. That's not part of this project. So I understand there's a little bit of a difference on that, but this planning application isn't for that. I hope you take a look at it and understand that we did a lot to appease the neighbors. We definitely can reduce the deck size, and then I don't know 100% on what happened as a final, because I think Joseph was waiting for the uphill neighbor on Capistrano to get back to him about would he be okay if us lowering the pitch of the roof, number one, and number two, Joseph is going to take down a few of those large trees that are actually blocking his view. And we're going to be planting more sculptural trees that give Joseph more privacy in the lower end and not so much having large trees at the top. So that was our goal there, is to create more privacy, not so much in the air, but more towards the ground. Joseph, he's been in Burlingame his whole life. So, they're not, they're a young family, and this is a house that they're trying to make workable for their family. Last major thing, we are not maximizing the house. This could be a much larger project. We have a lot of FAR left. So I hope you understand that we're trying to make this a more livable family home for him. So I'll let Joseph take the next talk. Thanks.
Thank you. Youssef, do you have anything to add?
You have to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, commissioners. Yeah, I think Tim kind of summed up everything that's going on. When we started this project, I didn't anticipate the neighbors on the side having an issue, since we're not going as far back as we could, and we're trying to keep the size as small as possible. I think our roof heights are under 9 feet on both floors, and we didn't propose going 10 and 10 or higher. And we didn't even propose going out with the whole house and going up, because we're trying to minimize the impact on the neighborhood. But, we do have a growing family. We love this neighborhood. We love this house. We want to make it our permanent home, and we just need a little bit more space. So we're trying to do it in a way where, I spoke with each neighbor. We're more than willing to put any privacy trees they want or screening. I told them each, if you name it, we'll put it up there. It's not a problem. Our goal is just to add a master bedroom in the back and another bedroom on top. And so, like I said, we're trying to minimize the heights and the disruption to the neighborhood. And I think kind of Tim summed it up. I really want to work with the neighbors, but Jeff behind us on Capistrano, he went up with the second story across the whole house, and it really looks down into my backyard. And so we wanted to go up a lot less and remove some of the trees that actually block his view. And I think his overall view would get more expansive. And so kind of that's where we're at. We're hoping that, anything that they would like specifically to address, we will. But at the same time, we kind of just need the square footage.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant at this time? Vice Chair Pfaff.
Yeah, I have a couple. Whoops. So I know we're not talking about the existing house, but I notice on the, what I think is your kitchen and living room area, I'm trying to figure out that if there are operable windows / doors on that side, because I noticed a stoop. Do you actually walk out on that area currently where you said you're removing the metal roof? Is that accessible?
That's
Yes.
that's our backyard.
Okay, because
Patio doors.
there were two different plans that I thought they looked like not corresponding, but okay, very good. So you're taking the metal off. You're going, that will be your and remain your backyard. So you've got now two access areas. You're coming out of the new addition, right?
Correct.
Okay, so then, very good. Then the second question, I'm glad I was going to ask you a lot about that porch, so I'm glad that you're willing to address that.
100%.
Finally, I thought my fellow commissioner was quite brilliant with her roof idea, but I wanted to take that a bit further, considering some of the comments from the neighbors. Would you consider doing a hip roof, a complete hip roof, rather than it's sort of yeah, okay. Because I think that wax off considerable blockage kind of takes a big chunk out, even if the height is not reduced necessarily.
A little bit. The problem is it kind of, we're putting two different roof lines on an existing house, which, we're trying to make this as attractive as possible, even though it's, we're kind of adding just a small portion of the second floor on it.
Just something something to look at. We
looked at it, but I don't know if that would really solve anything. You're still going to get the same blockage. But yeah, I think Joseph is right. Like, we're taking down a lot of those larger trees that's actually going to make his view more expansive. We're looking for more ground cover so that we can protect ourselves a little bit. So I do think his view is going to get better. We can definitely lower the roof, like I said, like 16 inches. We can just flatten the pitch a little bit. I don't think anyone will really notice it's a different pitch than the house.
Okay, very good. And finally, regarding the porch area, I guess porch or terrace, with the rail, would you consider obscuring material a bit? It's great you're putting the trees in. They take a long time to grow on the left and the right. Those are good trees too, I personally think, but they're evergreens and they can be very dense. But perhaps you might consider an obscure railing type rather than the see-through, because I think part of the issue is probably it's an increased intensity of use in that backyard is what I'm kind of getting to. So maybe considering something like that. So thank you.
We would be open to frosted glass. I mean, if that is an approvable thing.
Whatever. Yeah. Thank you. That's it.
Commissioner Haran.
Thanks. This I think might have been addressed at the last meeting, but with the homeowner on the line, could you talk about your thought process on other design options like extending a ranch, a single floor, or putting an addition over the existing space versus where you landed with the current design?
Sure. Yeah. So the reason why we bought this house was the backyard. I got a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and potentially another one on the way. And so a good chunk of the backyard is a huge hill that's unusable for the kids. And so we're already pushing it out to the point where we're losing a considerable amount of our space. And if I continued out even further, there'd be not enough usable backyard for the kids. So we kind of had to go out as minimum as we can to keep our backyard and go up as minimum as we can to preserve the neighborhood. That's where we landed on what we did, which is, most projects probably go for the maximum amount of square footage if they're doing the work anyways. It's not something we want to do. We could have even done a ADU on the single story. It's not, again, not something we wanted to do. I don't think it's a benefit for the neighborhood. This we felt was the best kind of compromise between going out and going up just enough to get the extra space.
Thanks. And in terms of just going purely up above the existing house, so not going out at all, what was the thought process there?
Well, that would never get approved.
We would, yeah, it would be a huge addition across the
Yeah,
whole.
we would be, yeah. The house itself inside is immaculately done. They did a small remodel inside that was permitted, and the house is beautiful. So we wouldn't, yeah. Also, you know, the two neighbors are ranches, and that would never happen. I mean, there's a lot of two-story houses in that area, or split level kind of designs that take advantage of the slope of some of the lots, even though his lot is, you know, it's fairly flat until you get to the backyard. You know, again, you know, that was the best and most, you know, it was the best location for it to not cause any issues. I mean, you know, redoing the whole roof in the front would be, you know, we wouldn't, you know, every neighbor would be coming out of the woodwork. So also it's just super not cost prohibitive.
Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Say.
Yes, thank you. Let's see. So Tim, I think it might have been in your rendering that there were 3 windows facing the street from the second story. And then
right. Yeah, right now there is none. We were playing around with adding some windows so possibly get some character, but then we saw the story poles, and you wouldn't see them from the street at all. So it was more of us just playing around. So the 2D plan is correct.
Is accurate. Okay.
Yeah, and we could put the windows back in, maybe if it was more of an issue about it doesn't look right because there's no windows on that elevation. We definitely would do it.
You can't even see them from the street.
You can't. Yeah, I mean, it was us just playing around, making sure we were doing the right thing.
Okay, and then is your client open to, so the windows facing the right-hand neighbor, there's one that's, I think over the stairs possibly.
Yeah, it's above the stairs.
Yeah, and half of it is, looks like it's translucent glass and half of it's clear.
We could do awnings, but I'd rather have a large, you know, that's kind of north. It's not going to get a ton of sun, and we're trying to push light down into the stairwell into that long existing hallway. But you know, we would be open to putting awning windows to make it completely private.
Well, you know, I tell you, when you go in person, and I had a chance today to meet with that homeowner and take a look at the impact of the addition over their yard, and it looks massive from just with the story poles in place. It looks like it's looming over their backyard. I know it's not. I know you have you're within the declining height envelope and such.
Yeah.
But it does feel like it's an invasion of their privacy, even though there's only 2 windows there. I think it could help that if you are open to, so I think what you're proposing now, the ridge height of the roof is still at its highest point. You would be bringing it down potentially 18 inches lower.
About
Is that what you're
16 to 18 inches, yes. Correct.
And I think Vice Chair Pfaff was asking if you were open to a hipped roof.
I mean,
I feel like that could help.
If you think it'll help, I mean, I just think it's a little weird. We were trying to get a little bit of a vaulted ceiling. Doing a hipped roof would kind of not do that on the second story. So.
Yeah, I just, I feel like, you know, we're looking at that side elevation that
on the side elevation for the right-hand neighbor. Yeah, if we did a hip, it would help a little bit of the massiveness of it.
Yeah, because there's no setback on that second story. It just, the articulation of it just looks like, you know, it could be an apartment building next to them is what it could appear to look like. And I feel like with so much space and such a big property that there must be some other opportunity to improve the program, you know, meet the program requirements for your client, but but also, look more like the house that's there now, in my opinion. So just some
Okay,
food for thought there.
I mean, we'll talk about it. I'm possibly okay with doing the hip. I mean, I just think it would look, we're trying to match a little bit of the character of what's happening, but if that's okay and you guys think a hip works and this gets approved, I think we can live with that.
Well, I think, in all honesty, from the street, which is really kind of our main view,
Yeah.
it's hardly, the addition is
I know.
hardly noticeable.
It's
So
noticeable,
whether
I
it's a
know.
hipped roof or gable roof, I mean, I think it does help that you've changed the orientation. So I
Yeah,
appreciate
it
that.
does. Yeah.
But I think that it would make
Yeah.
a difference to your neighbor. And then I also wanted to ask, and with the neighbor to the south, I was able to visit that property and see the impact of the addition for that neighbor's backyard. And that deck in its current location, I know you're open to reducing its size. It is coming off of a den. So I imagine a lot of kind of family use space there, kind of almost like a family room. So a lot of activity with, young children in the family and such. I would want to not see a deck at all, for one, safety wise, as well as just use of a reduced size deck. But what if it was facing the backyard, since you have the articulation along that rear elevation, that setback anyway? And if you move the deck to the side. So
Well, then we get into issues with the right side neighbor with her pool.
No, but not so big, just a small kind of like balcony space if you want that. I mean, you're not getting any view. You're not really gaining much from this deck because the yard is actually quite sizable. And, you're providing some shade, I suppose, over
Yeah, I mean, that
lower
was kind of
floor.
under the lower. I mean, I think what we're gonna do is create a planting ledge in front to kind of give you some relief to the neighbors. And we'll maybe just go out 6 feet with the deck, 6 by however wide it is. And then create a planting ledge in front of the railings to help the privacy of the neighbor on the left.
Yeah, that could help. And I think
Yeah.
also reduce the noise. Then
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just it's an added feature for the backyard with the fireplace and kind of that central courtyard of existing landscaping.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I also wanted to just share with everyone, I guess, that I had, after talking to the two neighbors on Sebastian on either side, there was concern about the accuracy of the survey. And so I did reach out to the surveyor and who I work with as well.
Okay.
So I reached out to Kevin McGuire and he was very kind to immediately check his work again.
Yep.
So he spent the afternoon and checked the work. It came out accurate and he created I think it was a fence exhibit. He kind of stripped away some of the kind of noise on the survey and he cleaned up just to provide some information that could be of assistance for you, Tim, as well in communicating with the neighbors.
Yeah, we really want to keep this out of this. This has nothing to do with it.
Sure.
This is a neighbor thing. Commission should not be getting involved in fences.
I just wanted to disclose
You
that
guys will have loads of work. And
Right.
Kevin's amazing.
I just wanted to disclose that I did
Right.
talk with him. He prepared that exhibit. I have shared it with the planning department. So if anybody has any interest in looking at it, they can communicate
We
with the
will
planning department.
definitely include that in the submittal. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other commissioners have comments or questions rather? I just have one question, Tim, and that just has to do with the asphalt roof on the addition. And the thinking behind that with a cement tile roof on the rest of the house.
I just don't know if we can find that tile. If we can find the tile, we'll do it 100%. I just don't want to say concrete tile.
Something similar. I just think that the asphalt roof is going to look, like it's going in a completely different direction.
I understand that. We'll do our research when we come back with you on the next round. And we'll get hopefully we'll do some research and try to find a tile that will complement it, and or find an asphalt that would work well with it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, my other question is, how far have the discussions or the talking gone between you and the neighbor on Capistrano?
I'll let Joseph, I believe they've
Yeah.
talked once or twice, so.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. I just want to address the fence line too. I told the neighbor today, actually, we just spoke. I have no intention of moving the fence right now. It's not, the survey came the way it did. I understand their concern. She wanted to get her own surveyor. I just wanted to let everybody know. I just needed to get a survey for this process, but my intention is not to move that fence. I know how much, problems that would cause. So we want to keep the fence as is. As far as the neighbor on Capistrano, Jeff, we met. I met in his backyard. I kind of came to the conclusion, and I was kind of stating to him that the biggest tree that has, I'd say, over a 30-foot span is going to be cut. That's going to make his view a lot better. We agreed to drop the height of the roof by a foot, which I really don't have that foot to give because the ceiling heights are already pretty low. But in order to kind of accommodate him, we said we're more than willing to drop it down a foot and get rid of those trees. And the replacement trees, as Tim stated, are only for our privacy. His second story addition is a straight view right into my backyard. And there's an existing hot tub that's been there. My family room is back there. It's not an ideal situation after he put that addition on many years ago. So my only goal with the trees is to get some privacy for my backyard. And as far as blocking, I said I'm more than willing to drop it down. It's a very small amount. And as I said, one or two of the biggest trees that impact his view on my lot are going to be gone. So I think when this is all said and done, he'll be a lot happier and he'll have a much more of a panoramic view than he has now. That's kind of where we left it off. A really nice guy. We obviously didn't get to meet until now because we moved in here in the middle of COVID in 2020. And so that was our first time actually meeting. And, I told him I'm opening to any discussions that kind of alleviate his concerns. I think mainly a big thing for him is obviously the trees. And so, I want to keep those kind of just enough for my privacy. And the other thing is the height, which Tim said we could make it work with 12 to 16 to 18 inches of a reduction. And maybe the hip roof, all that put together will alleviate these issues.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any other questions for the applicant or the property owner? Vice Chair Pfaff.
Yes, of course. Now I heard tree and you're making me nervous. So you're going to go through our arborist, our city arborist, because it sounds like it's protected size and
I don't think,
yeah.
I'll definitely go through the city arborist for sure.
And if there's a way to pare it down where everybody's happy, that would, a conifer that's healthy, I would leave, but.
I love this tree. I absolutely love it. I wish I could show it to you on my video right now, but the problem is, and it's growing, and a couple of the other ones next to it fell. And so they cut them all down. This is only two big ones left. The other ones are all stumps now because they fell. And grown on a hill, and the way it's grown with the work we need to do on the retaining wall, it's probably not going to be safe. I would absolutely love to keep the tree.
Yeah, it's just a comment, but just so that you go through the process, if there's some way to just trim it back so it's stable, whatever. So anyway.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Do we have any emails?
It's like we have two raised hands, so I'm going to bring in WW first.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, hi. I'm a neighbor over the Doris Way. So we are above the coverage channel a little bit. And the house is blocking our dining room and the living room view, bay view. So I realized several commissioners already visited several neighbors' house, but I just received this notice about a week ago. That's why I joined, and to hear what we have to say. And how we could avoid this blockage of the Bayview.
Ma'am, what is your address?
So do I have, I would love not to share at the moment.
Okay, the only reason we ask is that if the planning commission needs to visit your site, they know where to go, but you can relay that information to planning staff if you don't feel comfortable sharing your address this
So
evening.
I could go to the planning office and share my address.
Yes, you
I
can do
see.
that.
Is the city office, right?
Right, City Hall, second floor.
Okay, city. Okay. I just want to bring this to the owner's attention. This is blocking the view quite a bit because we are up the hill a little bit above the coverage channel. So the roof was very obvious and is blocking quite a bit of the bay view.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me bring
Another
in,
raised hand.
yeah, let me bring in Christine Lee. Let's see, thank you for your patience. I'm gonna try this again. Okay, not sure why she's not coming in. I'm gonna try another person as well. There we go. Let's see. 314856. If you're ready to speak, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Unmute. Hi, my name is Jeff Hoke. I live at 1860 Capistrano. Some of you came out and visited. I've lived here for 44, 45 years. As Yusuf said, I did an addition about 92, 93 to the house. Prior to my doing addition, way prior to that, I went to all the neighbors, showed them the plans, discussed with them, made a change here and there. I discussed with everybody. And it passed and it wasn't an issue and I had the work done. Unfortunately, through whatever fault, I only saw Yusuf for the first time concerning this house on Thursday. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was not here. I was away in Los Angeles. So really, I never got a chance to talk to him. It was never discussed, although I saw the drawings in the last meeting, it was never discussed with me, not about the addendum to the fence or the story poles that are up. The story poles definitely block view from my living room, dining room, and my kitchen. And you would say for the sitting area by my pool, I don't know if that counts or not, but even if that doesn't, from my living room, dining room, and kitchen, without a doubt, you can actually see the story poles easily from my front door on the other side of the house. If I'd had more time, I would have talked to him longer and maybe come up with something, because the height of the house, without a doubt, blocks everything for me. I wish I would have had more time, but I didn't. I appreciate those who came out and looked at the place. When he was over, he talked about the possibility of having a flat roof, which would drop it quite a ways. The tree thing, which he talked about keeping cut at what amounts to a certain height. He thought that he could drop if it wasn't, he could at least drop I believe he said, drop the roof by quote 1.5 or 2 feet, but he didn't have time. He didn't have all the engineering specifications there, but I never had a chance to go over it. So this is the first opportunity I've had to talk to both him and of course to all of you. It definitely blocks my view. That's it.
Thank you. All right, do we have any other members of the public who would like to speak, or do we have any emails, Ruben?
So no emails. I am still trying to get Christine Lee in. There's someone else, a Caitlin. Let me see if I can bring her in.
Ruben, while we're waiting for our other speakers, do you want to give a quick spiel about how they can reach you via email if they're trying to get a comment in right now?
Sure. If any member of the public would like to submit their concerns via email tonight to be read aloud, you can do so at this time before the end of this discussion. You can send it to publiccomment@burlingame.org. Again, that's publiccomment@burlingame.org. Let's see, Caitlin, if you are ready, you can go ahead.
Hi, actually I'm Teresa. I'm using my 10-year-old twin daughter's account. Sorry about that. Actually, I'm the neighbor on the right-hand side. It is on Sebastian Drive. I'm located at 1833. You know, the issue with us is not building a second story, or the main issue is the building is really bulky when it's extend all the way to the backyard rather than they start in the original roof line. So the addition is really obscuring, and I feel very pressure when I stand out there. The other thing is, I'm just wondering, when I look at the plan, I know the lot line, you know, is not something that the commissioner is dealing with, but if the lot line is not correct, when they try to repave the hallway, the walkway from 5 feet to 8 feet, according to the plan, that may change the plan, because I think the architect, when they draw, they need to be within the envelopes. I'm not sure it will affect. And honestly, Yusuf, you know, just approached me one time very briefly. He never really go on and talk with me anymore about my concerns. I think the situation would be a little bit better if he tried to open his discussion with us before the hearing starts. And rather than giving me surprises when I see the plans, the layout, the lot lines, the bulkiness just right next to my backyard, all the way to the back. Thank you, Commissioner, though. I really appreciate you guys to come over and hear our concerns and look at our yards. I really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else, Ruben?
Yes, Christine Lee is also available, so you can unmute yourself and speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Yes, thanks. Yeah, thank you so much for giving me opportunity to speak. And also today we had 3 commissioners visited us, my home 1825, Sebastian, and then Teresa's house 1833. So to me, the building addition for the neighborhood, you're talking about lot is within the percentage of lot size, but we are dealing with the hill in the back. And so I think I was really shocked when I first saw the storage, the pole. Is that right? Storage pole? Yeah. And then also the big deck in the front. So, and I think Tim wanted to minimize it, but I wish that there was no deck there, because the building itself is probably about half of the lot wide, and then you put the deck in the front, you are really looking into my backyard. And I have really private backyard, and I do have three side of trees that I try to, there's a tree from if I face my house on the left, big several oak trees. So I have really blockage there. And then I have a blockage in the back of the house. And then I have, if you also put another more landscape screening, I feel like I'm going to be trapped into my backyard. So that's a concern. And then I have, like Joseph did first time at 5:30 tonight, approached me. So I talked to him for about 30 minutes. And the land survey, I thank you for Commissioner say that, she checked with the surveyor and he said he did it correctly. But Teresa and myself, we measured the the land surveyor's mark that was 3 feet onto Teresa's side, and then 1.25 feet on my side. They put the stake. I said that in the last email. And then in the back is 2 feet. And so I need some time to get a survey, and we don't have a time. And my lot checks out to 72 feet wide from fence to fence. So I really do need that to be taken care of before anybody decides on anything. They'll be I will really appreciate it if you give both our neighbors, a chance to investigate a little bit further, because we didn't have time for this. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else, Ruben?
I don't see anybody else. Nope.
Okay, and if we have no one else, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, any comments or discussion? All right. Well, I'll start. I did not see I was not in attendance for the first meeting, but I did watch the video of this part of the meeting. I have a number of issues with the whole project. I think that the idea of the second story being set back would help this a lot, because that wall on the right side is pretty sheer and it's pretty blank and flat. The roof material bothers me, that there would be different roofs. I think it's just making this look more and more like an addition, and it does look like, and something's been added on. It's been stated a number of times that the lot is really big and they're not approaching the FAR, which is true, but it makes me think that maybe there's a better solution than a second story, because that brings me to the main point that I have, which is that though the distant view is through the trees, and it's a little bit muted, there is a distant view and it is being blocked. And we have rejected projects before for less of a view blockage than what I'm seeing here. I honestly think it would help if the applicant cut the trees down so that the neighbor behind could actually see, and then maybe some kind of a solution could be brought together for that everyone would agree on. But at the moment, I see this as too much of a view blockage to have a second story of this proportion. So I don't think that I could support the project. I'm going to go to Commissioner Haran. Oh, did you just?
Thank you. No, okay. Thanks. Yeah, I think I agree with most of what you said, Commissioner Gall. And subjectively, my gut feel is I just don't like the project. It looks a bit like a pimple on the back of the house. It just doesn't fit aesthetically. That's my subjective view. What I heard about why different solutions couldn't be done, I'm not there yet in saying this is the only solution. It sounds like putting the addition more above the existing house is more about money and not wanting to impact the current home than about it being impossible. And to Commissioner Gall's point, I think it is a big piece of property, and if they're cutting into the back hill, there could be some room for a one-story addition that doesn't minimize the lot too much. But all of that is really, driven by this view blockage, and the new home neighbor who called. I would like to see what they're talking about once they feel comfortable giving an address, because I think most of us had a chance to visit with Jeff at 1860 Capistrano. I was able to go to each room inside of his house, and the addition does block the view. And so that's probably the primary concern. While I feel for the neighbors, in terms of the privacy concerns and how daunting the addition looks, it's not necessarily, a code issue or something that is, we're able to influence, I think, from a design perspective, but not necessarily able to stop it because of that. And I do appreciate Tim and the homeowner being willing to modify the design based on our recommendations. I just feel like there's more room for that going forward to find a way to get to yes. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Say.
Yes, thank you. I echo a lot of what Commissioner Haran just stated. I had also shared with the neighbors about the applicant's right to add on to their property, wherever that addition may be. But I agree that with Commissioner Haran that this particular proposed design doesn't seem to fit well with the house that's there now. It seems like the addition's lopsided to one side. There's a considerable amount of massing to go with it. And so it doesn't feel like it's a natural extension of the home. Having visited the two neighbors on Sebastian, I am concerned about the deck and the noise and the privacy issues for that left-hand neighbor, because I can already imagine the impact of that deck, even reduced over that neighbor's property. And for the neighbor to the right, I think, again, is the massing that just doesn't suit the space, the location on that part of the property. I just feel like there can be a better solution. There's, Tim's a very talented designer, and I think that it may be budgetary constraints that are creating this design, but I think there are many other opportunities on such a large lot, really, to come up with a solution to give the family some additional living space. And I think also, as I see it now, I can't support the project either, as it's presented.
Thank you. Commissioner Camerado.
Yeah, I agree with my fellow commissioners. So I went to Capistrano as well. And although I was having a bit of a hard time really understanding the distant views, because I think the trees are in the way. And so to really understand where that view is coming from, I was really trying to figure it out. And I also called Ruben today and said that there was a second house that's across the street from the Sebastian house that has a 2-story, and that roof line seems to also be impacting the house at Capistrano. But it's too hard to really understand the lay of the land with the trees there. So I wanted to say that I'm not disputing that there is a view ordinance issue there. I'm just not sure what it is. But I agree with my fellow commissioners about the deck. I am completely not in agreement with that second-story deck. I would like to see it completely eliminated, primarily for the privacy issues for the neighbor to the left. I mean, it's just right into the backyard, her backyard. And I think that sheer wall to the right for the neighbor on the right. And it does, as Commissioner Haran mentioned, it just looks like it's just been placed right on top, like something on top of a cake. And it just doesn't feel like it fits the neighborhood. I think that there's enough space in that yard, and I don't know why we can't just utilize what we have as a single story. I'd much rather see giving them a little bit of square footage if they were able to keep it as a single story than go as a 2-story on that property.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and to to your point, Commissioner Camarado, that's what I was saying is I think if they cut the trees down to start with, because they're going to get cut down anyways, there'd be a lot clearer view of what is being impacted. And like the applicant has said, it will probably enhance the view, but the view in fact is there. And I saw it today when I was there from outside the building, but whether it's filtered or a little bit muted by those trees now, it's going to be enhanced by the trees being removed, which is going to only give the neighbor on Capistrano a stronger case. So, but I think that's where they should start, is getting rid of the trees. Yes.
One more thing, and I know we don't know, but the neighbor to the right of 1860 Capistrano, my understanding is it's tenant occupied. The owner there is 90 years old, and I know we can't really. They have a right to come to us to talk about the project on them for themselves and the impact it has on them, but. Standing in the backyard, Jeff's backyard, you could easily see that there were some rooms there on that property, and I don't know the impact of that. It's not for me to say, and it's not for me to determine that at this moment. Those owners need to take responsibility to come to us, but I think there's more impacts on bay views in that location. So I just want to be cognizant of everyone on that block.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other hands. Would anyone like to make a motion?
So what are our options? Our options to
And we can deny without prejudice. We can deny with prejudice, which would kill the project. If we deny without prejudice, they can come back with a new design, correct, Ruben?
Right. Yeah, I think based on your discussion tonight, probably the appropriate options would be either denial without prejudice or a continuance. If you feel like, you want to give the designer, the property owner, one more shot at this based on your direction, you can certainly continue it and have them implement the changes that you've suggested.
I would like to propose a continuance.
Is that a motion?
This is a motion to continue the project.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so the continuance, could you give us the bullet points on the items that you would like to see addressed for the continuance?
So I think reducing the deck or eliminating the deck, the trees, possibly the removal of the trees to see what we can see if there are distant bay views. Is there been an option to talk about just doing a single story addition? Do my fellow commissioners have any other ideas, or have I hit?
I'm thinking the redesign of the right-hand side, the blank wall.
Yeah, the redesign of that blank wall on the right-hand side, possibly putting the addition over the main house. That was brought up. I think those are the ones I have on the top of my head.
Okay.
Through the chair, I heard some discussions about removal of trees just for the benefit of the applicant and the property owner. There is a process that you need to go through to remove a protected size tree and or trees. So please be sure to contact our city arborist or the Parks Division, and they can give you some guidance on how to apply for that.
And my suggestion on that was based on the landscape plan that shows the removal of those trees anyways. Not that I think that they should be cutting down trees.
Right. There's a process, though. They'll have to give an explanation of why and probably back it up with the arborist report. But I just want to be clear that there is a process to remove those trees. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Camarado and a second by Commissioner Say, I believe.
Yes.
Any further discussion on the motion? No, then can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Camarado?
Aye.
Commissioner Herrera?
Aye.
Commissioner Say?
Aye.
Vice Chair Pfaff?
Aye.
Chair Gall?
Aye. So the motion passes to continue the project 5002, and that is not appealable. Is that
That's correct? That's correct.
Okay, then we'll move on to agenda item 9C, 2758 Summit Drive. Were any commissioners not able to visit if you're the applicant or the applicant's representative, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we ask that you also turn on your video at that time. Were any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communications regarding this project? And I don't see any hands. So let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, this is an application for design review and hillside area construction permit for a first and second story addition to an existing single unit dwelling at 2758 Summit Drive, zoned R1. The subject property is an interior lot which slopes downward approximately 20%. Access to the house and garage from Summit Drive is across a paved footbridge and a bridge driveway. The house is 1 story at street level and 2 stories at the rear of the house due to the slope of the lot. With the proposed additions, the total floor area would increase to 3,355 square feet, where 6,308 square feet is the maximum allowed. The subject property is located within the hillside area overlay zone. View preservation shall be limited to obstruction of distant views to San Francisco Bay, the airport, and Mills Canyon from primary indoor living areas. The total number of bedrooms would increase from 4 to 5 in this project. 3 parking spaces, 2 of which must be covered, are required. The existing attached garage provides the required covered parking space, and 1 uncovered space is provided in the driveway. All other zoning code requirements have been met. At the Planning Commission Design Review Study meeting on June 13th, the Commission had several comments and suggestions regarding this project. The applicant submitted a response letter dated June 17th and revised plans dated June 20th to address your comments and suggestions. Suggested findings for design review and hillside area construction permit are provided on pages 3 and 4 of your staff report. There were several received after items submitted by Faith Chan, which is the next door neighbor, which were provided to the commission prior to tonight's meeting. Staff would note that the project planner did reach out to Ms. Chan this afternoon and provided clarification to her points in the email. Ms. Chan seemed to understand that the setbacks and property lines shown on the plans are now correct. And at this time, I'd be happy to take questions of staff if you have any.
Thank you, Ruben. Does anyone have questions of staff? I don't see any hands, so I'm going to open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and anything else you would like to add about your project?
You're still on mute.
You're muted.
Mr. Frank.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Okay. Hi again. My name is Raymond Frank. Thank you again for this, your time, and thank you for your comments and your suggestions from our last meeting. We were able to make some adjustments to the project based on the observations from the commissioners, including Commissioner Pfaff regarding the railing design. The homeowner also really likes the existing pipe railing. So we've decided to remove the glass railing from the project completely and keep the pipe railing design at the front of the house, and also incorporate it into the new decks at the back of the house. We also made note of the observations regarding the preservation of the views from around the decks in the back. And as such, we've stepped back the main level deck by 3 feet. And we've also incorporated the planters at the side railings to help beautify and soften the view from the side. And it's not shown on this plan, but we actually also plan to have the planters both at the main level and also at the lower level directly below. Also, as per comments, we made adjustments to the alignment and the width of the door frames at the back of the house. So those are now aligned and more consistent in their width. I think those are all the comments that we had in regards to the design of the project. We look forward to hearing from you again tonight, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant? I had one question, Mr. Frank. I'm a little bit confused on the on the proposed decks. I don't see planters at the lower level. I see it at the first floor. I don't see it at the lower level or at the lower level too. Did you intend to put them on all 3 levels?
Yes, I didn't make it onto the set yet, but we do intend to place it at every level. So those will have foliage and nice soft edges there.
Okay. And, you know, I had a question. I see that you added the neighbor's house on the last set, asked about adding the neighbor's house onto the site plan, but my main concern was really the location of her windows in relation to the deck, because she does have, you know, I was in her house and can see the addition or the deck from her kitchen window. I didn't go back into the bedroom, but I trust that she can see it through her kitchen window also. So that's kind of what I was looking for. I was just wondering if you could add that on so that we could have a better idea of how those windows relate to this addition and decks.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. Does anyone else have questions of the applicant? Okay, I don't see any hands. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak on this item? Or do we have any emails that we have not received yet, Ruben? Or read yet?
No public comment emails have come in for this project. And I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, and we all did get and read the letters from the neighbor, Faith Chan, that were in our packet. Okay. Then if we don't have any other questions for the applicant, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, any comments or discussion about this project? Vice Chair Pfaff.
I'll go. I think it's greatly improved from last time. It just looks more together in a tighter design, and appreciate that. Because we got the email from the neighbor regarding trees, but I think staff answered it, so I don't know how much we're supposed to go into that, but I guess I just feel like as much attention as can be spent on trying to help out the neighbor who appears awfully close somehow to this project, that would be greatly appreciated. I don't know that you're putting in more. I think you're not putting in more plantings. It's really sloped property there. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, anything would be really appreciated to make this work out for her. But I think the project is really come along nicely, personally.
Thank you, Commissioner Haran.
Yeah, I would just echo that I'm thanks to the applicant and the architect for listening to all the comments and making all of those changes. I think it fully reflects the conversation we had at the last meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, I would just like to make sure that we do see those planters that would be permanent put on those decks with the final plan. And that could potentially come back as an FYI, but I wouldn't mind seeing a more developed landscape plan. I mean, that is pretty bare there between the two houses. And if you go into the neighbor's house on the right, like I say, you look right out at the deck. So I think it would be a benefit to both parties, especially if this deck is going to be increased in size, if the applicant would add some trees on that property line. But that could come back as an FYI, in my opinion. So with that, and I don't see any other hands, I'll make a motion to approve the project with the added condition that the landscaping plan is developed further between the house at 2756 Summit and the project site, and that the planters on all 3 decks are shown as permanent planters and shown in the approved plans.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Chair Gall and a second by Commissioner Haran. Is there any further discussion on the motion? No, then could we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Camarado.
Aye.
Commissioner Haran.
Aye.
Commissioner Say.
Aye.
Vice Chair Pfaff.
Aye.
Chair Gall.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0-0-2. And that is appealable. So let me read that one. An action by the planning commission is appealable to the city council within 10 days of the planning commission's action. If the planning commission's action has not been appealed or called up for review by the city council by 5 p.m. on the 10th day, the action becomes final. In order to be effective, appeals must be in writing and must be accompanied by an appeal fee of $1,075, which includes noticing costs. Congratulations. So we will get an FYI back on that, correct, Ruben?
Yes. Mhm.
Thank you. Okay, then we are going to, we're going to move on to design review study, and we only had one item, which was continued from this meeting. So we have nothing in design review study to look at. Do we have any commissioners' reports?
Right, and let me just, for any of those that are in the public, that item that was continued was 2313 Ray Drive. That will be renoticed and placed on us on a future agenda. Let's see. I don't think there are any commissioners reports. I don't really have any directors reports either. There are no FYIs. Staff did provide you all with the major projects map, so hopefully
Thank you very much.
find that helpful, and we'll try to
you.
update that as new projects come and go. So keep that. If you need more copies, just let me know. I can give you guys hard copies, or if you guys want PDFs too, I can certainly forward PDFs. Maybe I'll just do that just so you have that in case. But let's see, 8:29. If you guys want to get out of here by 8:30,
Wow.
Mike just needs to do the virtual gavel.
I think that is it. And with that, we will close this meeting at 8:29. Thank you, everyone.
Good
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.